welcome to episode 3 of the Mind and Money podcast. I'm Sherry, a financial coach.
And I'm Val, a financial planner. Today, we're talking about aligning your life, which sounds like a really big topic, but Sherry and I are here to break it down for you so it doesn't feel so overwhelming and actually has some pieces of fun to it. The first thing that we want to talk about today is deciding on what is important to you in your life. And this might not be what needs to happen today. This is also looking into the future, whether it be a year from now, 5 years from now. And sometimes those longer term pictures can feel a little bit overwhelming to us because it's like so much to think about in the things that we want. So breaking it down to be smaller, that works too. It could just be 6 months from now or a month from now. So when we're looking at bringing our life into alignment and our actions coming into alignment with what we desire, we want to see, okay, what are some destinations that we have in our vision. And that can be feelings. It doesn't always have to be things. And Sherry, I'm sure that you can chime in here to say that so often in the financial planning or coaching, clients come to us with more material things that they almost societally potentially feel that they are supposed to desire.
Yes, it's quite common when I first meet with clients and start talking about goals. A lot of it initially is around material things. Like, I want to buy a home, I want to buy a car, I want to travel, which is great. And I love those goals. But I think first, looking into those feelings and what do you want that vision of your life to be? And personally, that life is, I don't want to be working my ass off. I don't want to be burnt out. I don't want to be feeling stress and pressure to do a lot of things. And yes, I know a little bit of pressure is good, but
Right.
having that time to build the life that I want and the business that I want and the business and the life are very aligned. And taking time to work on myself and what I want that future life to look like and what I want it to feel like helps me also come into alignment with the clients that want those same
Mm,
things and the clients that are easier to shift into those. Okay, future life, what does it look like? Less on the financial buying of things and more on the feelings around peace and calm and contentment is a big one. Being content
mm.
with what you have can really benefit you in the long term when it comes to your personal finances as well.
Yes. And that, just to kind of go deeper into that, being content with what you have, because so often we're chasing something that's like it's we might accomplish something and then it's what's next or what's the newest version of this. But when we stop and as much as it's almost buzzworded, if you will, the gratitude practice and taking into account what we do have and being thankful for what we have and pausing to take time to go, look how lucky I am, or look how, like, look at all of the good things that I do have going on for myself, just to remind us that it's not about, like, happiness isn't outside of us. We're not going to find it in the next purchase. So it's creating those feelings now and bringing that into us through just purely reminding ourselves of what we do have. So love that. It's not about chasing material things. Sometimes the goals are material and that's okay, but it's what is the feeling and the energy that comes with that goal. So when we're looking at focusing on the feelings of the life that you want to create, what is an exercise or a practice that has helped you to capture these feelings that you want in your life?
A lot of it is just taking time in a quiet place with a
Yes.
writing utensil and a journal. Or for me, I use my iPad for everything. Fun tip, an iPad and a Good Notes app is amazing to be able to take a lot of things with you and not have to take a lot of things with you. But it's about
Yes.
spending time with yourself and your mind. And I know the world is really busy right now, and especially for those ADHD brains, I get you.
Hmm.
And for busy parents, it's challenging, but spending 5 or 10 minutes each day thinking about, what happened yesterday, what am I looking forward to today, and being grateful, practicing gratitude for a long time. I wrote down like 3 things each day I was grateful for. And sometimes it was really simple things like a fuzzy blanket or a
Mm.
good cup of coffee. And sometimes it was bigger things like connecting with amazing people and bringing on a new client and attracting my ideal client. But really focusing on finding those pieces of happiness and gratitude in each day because they're there and sometimes we have to look really hard for them and sometimes they're really tiny, but being grateful for those things that happen or even those things that we get, like it can help you seek out less pleasure through like buying more things and accumulating things and hustling. And it can be really challenging when you start, but a little bit of time with yourself and your mind. And I've been getting back into the journaling habit regularly and spending a few minutes first thing in the morning or at the end of the day around like what happened that was really good today. And I recently did a meditation, and one of the exercises through that meditation, it was an end of the day one geared at helping you sleep, was you take these things that happen and you put them down on a piece of paper just in your mind, you're just thinking it, and then you fold that paper up into a little boat and you send it on down its journey, whether that was good or bad. And it really helped me kind of let go of those things throughout the day because a day is just a snapshot in time, and being intentional with how we think about it and dwelling less on the past can
Yes.
really lead to a big shift personally and financially.
I love that. I love that visual that it created. And when we're talking about the journaling habit, for some of you, pen and paper or iPad and pen, which is Sherry and I are both on in that boat. It might not be that you might need to speak it. So a memo note in your phone totally works as well, right? Just to take that time, be with your mind, be with yourself, get quiet, and give yourself the space to just capture whatever feelings come up for you because there's those things, right? Like we're going to have goals that are surface, but to take the time to go deeper and just get quiet and listen, huge, huge. And that leads us really well into talking about the materialistic goals. Often in society currently, there is the feeling that we need to keep up with the Joneses. And Sherry, for those who have not heard that term, can you tell me what that term means?
So basically, this leans into this family, these Joneses that we envision. It's kind of like the grass is greener on the other side. We
Yes.
envision that the Joneses, they have it all. They go on trips, they have a nice house, they have 2 cars, they've got a perfect little family, and they do all of the things. And a big thing to think about is we don't know the situation of others. We know what we're able to see and what they let us see. And
Yes.
quite often, the people that we perceive are in a much better life position, a much better financial position, actually aren't. Yes, maybe they're earning more, maybe you think they're earning more, but what that can often lead to is more financial stress because the more you earn, the more debt you're able to access, the nicer car, the nicer home you're able to get. But that leads into bigger car payments, bigger mortgage payments, bigger debt payments. And those Joneses, they could be broke as a joke and we don't know it. And we just think that they're doing the things we want to do and they look like they're living the life we want to live, but we don't really know. And that kind of leads into the grass is not always greener on
Yes.
the other side. And if we water our grass and we take care of it, it will get green too.
Absolutely. And social media plays a big role in that, in seeing the prettiest pictures. And as you said, Sherry, we see what they allow us to see. So when we're seeing different posts from family, from friends, from that person from high school, and we're going, how can they do it? How are they doing it? And I feel like I'm on the struggle bus. Remember that you're running a different race. We have no idea what the behind the scenes looks like. Well, Sherry and I get to, which is really cool, and that's what we love to do. But when we're in that comparison trap, it can really drain our energy. And now we're just looking out our windows at everyone else's houses, and we're forgetting about the home that we're in. We're forgetting about where we are, what we have, what we want to do. So again, coming back to when you catch yourself in that comparison or that jealousy, to go, but look at what I have. And if I'm jealous of that person, do I want their whole life? Do I want to move into their house and have everything they have? No, likely not. You don't want to leave your family and switch it for theirs. You don't want all of their problems. It's just that one snippet, which might have been the vacation. When you're sitting in cold Ontario and they're in warm Cuba, you might be going, oh, why can't I have that? But take yourself out of that comparison and remind yourself of your situation and what you do have going on for you.
Yeah, and I feel like it leads back again to the gratitude. The more grateful for the things that you have, the less jealous you'll feel looking at what other people have. And social media is a really big thing, and I tend to spend way more time on there than I should. Something else I'm going to work on is spending less time on my phone, but being able to understand that we make the choices for us. And maybe you could go on a vacation right now. Maybe you could slap down the credit card, go on one of those travel websites, and be on a plane and on the beach next week.
Mhm.
But at what cost, right? What stress does that add if you come home and then that credit card bill shows up in your inbox or in your mailbox? And is it worth that joy for that stress? And clients that I've worked with in the past, and I love, please message me if you're doing something awesome if I'm not currently working with you. But I love hearing messages from clients like, yeah, I just booked the trip and I paid for it already, and I'm not going to come home to stress and debt. And that really is transformational, to be able to pivot from worrying about what you're coming home to being able to pay things off from your whole expense from your travel savings account as soon as you get home. And yeah, it's hard. And yeah, it's going to feel like an uphill battle, but the journey is really worth that shift in feeling, the shift in how you feel about your money. And another big thing that I know my social media feed is filled with is buy this course, do this thing. I'm making 5-figure months and
Yes.
I work 3 hours a week and I have a $50,000 month. And the passive income, the push is so hard. I don't know if everybody's feed is filled with it, but those things are hard. Getting to that place is hard. You can't buy a $7 course and immediately make $50,000 in income the next month. Like if somebody's telling you that, run.
If it feels too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. Not always, but often. If it feels too good to be true, trust your gut on
Yeah.
that one. So when you're seeing those posts and it seems like your one-way ticket to get off the struggle bus, you're like, perfect, I'm going to be on the abundance train. It's possible to get there without that ticket. And what worked for someone might not work for you. I know digital products was a really big thing, and courses, and it still is. It's a large industry. And I'm not saying that they don't work and that they're a waste of money at all, because I've purchased courses and they've been fantastic. But when we're working or when we're seeing on our feed, right, sign up for my course and I'll show you how I did this. It doesn't always work for everyone. It's not that one size fits all. And it's not that ticket to instant passive income, $50,000 overnight. You'll wake up with it in your bank account. There's a lot of behind the scenes and a lot more work that goes into it than I think we're often not led to believe, but that's talked about. The late nights, the early mornings. There's a lot of things that go into the final product, right? Which
Yeah.
brings us to another big thing on our social media and through different books and podcasts that I hear a lot about is kind of hand in hand in my world. Burnout came to light, and so did hustle culture. They've both come to light at a very similar time. And I think there's a huge correlation between them. Hustle culture, I'm not saying is a bad thing. Hardworking and putting in the work to build a business or to drive towards your passion That's not a bad thing. However, if we're not doing the right things while we're putting in those hours, it can translate into that burnout, right? And being depleted and not giving enough to yourself and not taking the time to get quiet. And then you're in terms of life alignment, you might have the income that you want, but are those feelings there? Because you're now exhausted, you're unhappy, you might be getting sick because all of that triggers the immunity system. There's so much to it. But when looking at that hustle culture, it might not also be for you. And Sherry, I think you can touch on this, which was great. We had a conversation before the podcast. So tell me about the 60% that you had heard about.
Ooh. Yes, and I'm working on getting more of these in my feed. So I encourage you from a social media perspective to unfollow people that make you feel those feelings of jealousy. And if they're your friends and your loved ones, you don't have to unfollow, but on Instagram, you can mute them. You can mute their stories. You can mute their feed. And on Facebook, I can't remember what the term is, but you can still stay
I
friends
think
with
it's
them, but not have
unfollow
their
on
stuff.
Facebook.
I think so, maybe. Like you can still follow them and be able to go and look and support when you choose to, but they're not showing up in your feed. And adding more people, more businesses, more anything that inspires you, you can really work on curating your social media feed, and that really is beneficial. And just what Val was talking about, I saw a post about, yeah, I'm giving 60%, and 60% is all I want to give. And that's going to have to work because I want that other 40% to relax, have downtime, spend time with your family. And as someone who worked their ass off, nights, weekends, shift work, and it took getting fired for me to realize that that was not in alignment with what I wanted for myself long term. And I missed a lot of things with my family as a parent. I missed school plays. I missed taking your kid wherever they were going on a field trip. And when I reflect on that, and I try not to beat myself up too much for the past, but when I reflect on that, knowing what I know now, I would have shifted things a lot sooner to be able to not need to work that overtime, those nights, those weekends, to be able to prioritize my family. And it's okay to give
Mm-hmm.
60%. And it's okay if somebody wants to give 100%. It's okay if somebody wants to pedal down and go fast and go far, but it's also okay to not want that. And it's okay to have seasons of each too. Maybe you
Yes.
have a busy season in your business or in your life, and maybe you then take a slow season in your business and your life to offset it so that you're not pushing to burnout. And a big thing with ADHD is go, 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 stop, 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 stop.
Yeah.
And and trying to find more of that balance and figuring out how to find that balance. And it's okay to have go, 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 stop, stop, stop if that works for you, but you really have to think about, is it working for you? And is those periods where you're going 100 miles an hour, and then do you stop because you're burnt out, or like are you forced to slow down and stop? So really thinking about what you want your life to look like, and bringing in that culture of it's okay to not hustle all the time, and it's okay for others to do that, but I don't have to. And it can be really hard to not be working as hard. And if you're listening, I'm doing air quotes here, not be working as hard as a coworker, a peer, a friend, a spouse or partner, because you have to do what's best for your physical and mental health while also considering your financial health too. But making some changes on that side can really lead to, it's okay to give 60%. Like, and there's going to be days when giving 60% is giving your 100%. And there's days when it's just giving 60% and you're leaving 40 in the tank, and it's all okay.
Yes. That cyclical aspect of we're going to be in different cycles in our business, in our family life, in the years that go by. So honoring that cycle, observing your cycle, and then also in part of bringing it into alignment is journaling about what do you want your energy to look like? What do you want those cycles to look like in an ideal world? What does that look like for you? And then bringing it all to, of course, the numbers and how does that relate to the numbers? So when we're looking at, of course, we can look at this vision and I want to make this much every year. And then we can break that out to an hourly rate and then maybe break out to how many clients you need or how many hours you need to work or how many overtime shifts you need, as an example. So when we're working at it, kind of starting more from the feelings place versus just the tangible numbers, Sherry, how have you seen that flip for clients and what exercises do you walk them through with that?
So when I first start working with a new client, and I love this period of time with the client because we're really diving into their numbers and seeing what has been coming in and what has been going out in the last 1 to 3 months and what aligns with you
Yes.
and what doesn't.
Yes.
So peeling back the curtains, and we're going to talk about this very soon in another episode, exactly how to start budgeting, specifically targeted at how to start budgeting with ADHD, because we have more challenges than others. But spending time looking at where your money has been going, and a lot of times it's a like, whoa, shit. Like, I can't believe how much I spent on Amazon, or I can't believe how much I spent on Uber Eats. I can't believe how much I
Yes.
spent on takeouts and restaurants and groceries, and being able to really understand where your money has been going, and then taking some time to think about that future you want, where your money has been going, and like, do they align? And if they don't, what do we need to change?
Yeah.
If your goal is to travel debt free and go on a trip once a year or twice a year or whatever that looks like, what if we weren't spending that money on this category and this category, and instead we could pool it together and have money go into savings so that it's going towards something that you're truly going to enjoy? And yes, we enjoy when food shows up to our house hot, we ordered it, it's fast,
Yes.
but then it often comes with a lot of regret to be like, ooh, crap. That salad and that side and the appetizer, like, that cost $50. And did you have food in your fridge you could have made and you just didn't have the energy for it? And
Always.
I get it, that happens.
Absolutely. And this exercise isn't to bring like shame and regret to those spending habits. It's just honestly, I say with clients, it's like a science experiment. We're just looking at what did past Val do with past Val's money? Where did it go? What did it go towards? And just like we're talking about, is this where future Val would spend her money?
Yeah. And aligning that, really thinking of your future vision and what would it feel like to put all that money that went towards something that only brings you immediate joy? What if we shift that into something that brings you like longer term
Yes.
joy and happiness? And like, maybe some of that is, okay, I'm self-employed and here are my expenses and here's my income. But if I can bring my expenses down a little bit and my income up a little bit, then there's more of a gap to do different things with, and saving and thinking about your future are important. And yes, I love to live for today, and we don't know how long we have. Not so silent plug. Get life insurance, see Val for that. We don't know how long we're going to live, but we have to have like future us in the back of our mind, because what if we live until we're 100? And yeah, looking at the amount you need to have for different things can feel overwhelming, but really starting to chunk it out into like, past, what did I do in my past? What can I do in my future that's more aligned with the life I want to live, and make those tweaks from the past? And then what do I want to do in my future, and what do I want my life to look like? And if you want to give that 60%, maybe you need to decrease your expenses so that you can work less and not work those overtime shifts, to have more
Mm,
of that family time or you time or time for your hobbies
yes.
or whatever you want to focus on.
Everyone's definition of success is going to look different. Where I think, and Sherry, you can maybe agree with me on this, is that generations past, to retire at 65 and to go to Florida every now and then was the goal for so many people. not everyone, but so many. But that definition is changing. People want to travel while they're able to. People don't want kids, or people do want kids, or people like there's so many variances that the one size fits all goal planning alignment point A to point B is no longer. It is all about you, but then we're still also living in this like, but look at what they did. But it's actually not really what I want. So just like bringing it back in.
Yeah, life has changed a lot from the generations past of and my social media feed is also filled with people like imitating those different generations, and a boomer be like, I have some financial advice for you. You just need to spend less and not get your
Yes.
latte and you'd be able to buy a house. It's like that's not reality
I
anymore.
thank you,
Like
but no thank you.
your lattes aren't the reason you can't buy a home if you are in that position right now, and maybe having an extra $7 every day would help you with some of your shorter term goals. But it's more about dialing in on, well, I spent $500 last month on restaurants and
Hmm.
takeout. And what would that $500 a month do to be able to make changes for you in your future? So, yes, it's looking at the little things, but it's looking at the big things too. And when we talk specifically about budgeting, we'll talk about this more, but the big three expenses are your home, where you live, your rent, your mortgage, your travel, your car payment, your insurance, and food.
Yeah.
If we can make some small shifts on those to reduce them, that allows so much more room for other things. So there's lots of creative ways to do that. But again, we could talk about this
All
all
day.
day, but it's about that time to wrap it
Yes.
up. So it's been great chatting again with you, Val, and we're excited that you're here listening. Keep listening, share with your friends, go and subscribe so that you get our newest episodes. And we can't wait to see you until next time. Have a great day.